to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley speaking to you from Washington, D.C. Our special Labor Day program, trying to put some content back into Labor Day in sense of having a labor movement to fight for the great questions of human progress. This was, of course, the genius of the New Deal, that instead of just having government and the banks seated at the table, there was at least a third party, organized labor, representing some semblance of a public interest, or at least the interests of the broad majority of working families. And this is what you don't have. You didn't have it under Mad Dog Bush, the younger, or the elder for that matter, and you don't have it under Barky Obama, the Wall Street puppet in the purest form we've ever seen it. So the goal, as we've said with Obama, he's caving on schedule. This is all weakness by design, cowardice, the stab in the back, the bait and switch, all designed to arrive at the terminus ad quem, right? The goal of all this is to institutionalize the Massachusetts model. Massachusetts model in this case meaning an individual mandate that everybody has to pay for private health insurance with the same lousy conditioning that we've got under the existing system. In other words, that they deny about 1/4 of all requests for funding. So it's a massive bailout of insurance companies that have been bankrupted by their own derivatives speculation, and this simply confirms again that Obama's primordial task is to bail out 1.5 quadrillion of derivatives, really worldwide, because, of course, he's given $40 to $50 billion to people like Barclays Bank, Deutsche Bank, Societe Generale, Union Bank of Switzerland, a couple of Dutch banks in there, too, and for God knows how many other European and foreign banks have gotten in through the AIG bailout, where, of course, Goldman Sachs, that vampire squid attached to the face of humanity, also cashes in. So that's where we're headed. This is, of course, the policy embraced by Rahm Emanuel, the infamous Rambozo. This, of course, is the father of all of those blue dogs, right, those lapdog Democrats. Lapdogs of Wall Street is what they are. Rambozo, you remember in 2006 when the Democratic congressional prospects were very good, insisted on having only warmonger candidates, only warmonger Democrats, meaning blue dogs. People like the ill-fated Tammy Duckworth, currently ensconced somewhere in the Obama administration, I think in the veterans at the VA. She got millions from Rambozo so she could lose, and viable candidates like Colonel Bob Bowman in Florida, who really had a chance to win, got nothing. So the fact that we even have these blue dogs is a tribute to a heritage of betrayal by Rambozo. He went fishing. He went fishing in the West last week. Maybe he was catching new fish that he could send as threats to his friend, right? So that somebody's going to sleep with the fishes, according to Rambozo. There's also, on top of the healthcare betrayal, as I point out in that call that you can see at actindependent.org, the call for left anti-war opposition, of course, focuses on Afghanistan. And we're now in a situation where it's clear the Obama regime is preparing to escalate. Couldn't be clearer. Just this morning, yesterday, we have Robert Gates, the former office boy of Zbigniew Brzezinski in the Carter National Security Council 30 years ago. Robert Gates indicated Thursday that he is open to increasing the number of U.S. troops in Afghanistan, voicing a shift in his position as the administration ponders a military assessment expected to lead to a formal request for additional forces. The Army has just announced it will extend the tours of duty of 3,000 soldiers in Afghanistan. They will be staying an extra 2 weeks to 2 months to deal with the intensifying Taliban insurgency. Yeah. So now we're 8 years into the war. It's time for another surge. You're going to get all of the hated and discredited Mad Dog Bush rhetoric of militarism, aggression, and so forth. We're going to be told to stay the course, that we have to escalate, that we need a surge. This is all coming. It's also interesting. Obama's political interest in all of this seemed to count very, very little. The Obama administration, as we know from various sources, had told McChrystal, the commander at the time, the war criminal torturer from Iraq, of course, they told him, shut up, don't ask for troops in public. You talk to us privately. If you come out and ask for more troops, you will be in big trouble. So now Gates, who is, of course, a holdover from the Republican regime, but above all, a Brzezinskiite from the first time around 30 years ago, Gates doesn't care what happens politically to Obama. That's not his concern. I believe, and I'll try to illustrate this in the later segment, what is happening now is playing the card of absolute chaos and confusion. That is to say that Afghanistan, of course, is hopeless. They know this. But I think what they're trying to do now is to have a withdrawal in a way that will maximize the breakup of Afghanistan with the hope that the bacillus of partition, secession, insurrection, civil war will spread into Iran and indeed into Pakistan, both of them prime targets. So Pashtunistan and Baluchistan in particular extend into both of those countries that we've just mentioned. If you have a greater Pashtunistan, greater Baluchistan, that's going to cut into both Pakistan and Iran, and that seems to be it, chaos and confusion. And, of course, if Obama goes down in flames, well, that's sort of part of the design, isn't it? It's clear you're not going to get Obama in a second term. It would take a miracle. So we're looking at a Jimmy Carter catastrophic presidency, just as I argued in Obama the Postmodern Coup some time back. So this is now what's happening internationally. The array of voices now against Obama, of course, we have to thank Cindy Sheehan once again for going to Martha's Vineyard and serving not so much as a cause, but as a crystallizing point that energized, summed up, and mobilized a tremendous amount of anti-war sentiment after 6 months, 8 months of systematic, cynical betrayals by the bankrupt, morally inadequate, foundation-funded peace movement, and you know who they are, Code Pink, Peace and Justice, Peace Action, all the rest of them. The ones who escaped this, to put them on the honor roll, Iraqi Veterans Against the War, honorable record, and indeed Veterans for Peace, endorsed Cindy Sheehan a little bit late in the day, but they did it. So they saved themselves from this foundation-funded opprobrium. So Cindy Sheehan, of course, generating a tremendous amount of interest. She's on Russia Today not once but twice. You have to see the short account as well as the 11-minute sit-down interview. We'll look now in a second about the various voices being raised from across the ideological spectrum. Get out of Afghanistan. We'll be back.